Without checking your watch or consulting your latest stats, tell me, how did you sleep last night? Or even better, how did you experience your sleep? I've spent hours on this podcast speaking to people about how we move during our waking hours, how we treat our aliveness, our wholeness, our intention, and our actions, and how these choices spill into our relationships, our creations, and the world around us. All the while, this big portion of our daily cycle, when we sleep, has been left unexplored. But that's about to change because just like any other moment of our day, our sleep is not solely a way for us to process and recharge. It can also communicate something to us about our needs and leave an imprint on our energy and our abilities that we get to pay attention to and maybe even caretake while we are awake. Now, approaching sleep as a topic and as a practice will provoke different things in us. Some love nothing more than to crawl under a cover at night, while others itch a little at the thought of the vast oblivion that just seems to swallow hours of our life. And as if our deeply personal relationship to sleep isn't enough, it's also a topic that has become charged with criteria for perfection. Key indicators and biohacks that often line us up to feel like sleep becomes just one more thing that we are constantly failing at or should feel anxious about. Set up the perfect ritual, have a dark room, wear blue blockers, and for the love of God, don't slip so low as to look at your phone. But the paradox with sleep, like with most things we try to achieve or create, is that the harder we try, the more we attempt to control it and force it, the more difficult it can become. My guest, Frida, is here to share how we let ourselves off the hook of perfection and start playing with what works for our unique rhythm. It's a beautiful opportunity, but it also asks something of you. If you're arriving here not feeling open to see things through a different lens, or like you don't have access to your playfulness and curiosity, give yourself an out. Give yourself this hour and something to not take in any new input. Those are moments better spent softening our edges. Perhaps take a really slow walk in nature with small steps towards being here and present with what you are experiencing in the now. Bring your awareness to the smells, the sounds, the wind on your face, and if or when you start feeling yourself open up, maybe even be so bold as to hug a tree. The episode will be here when you're ready to come back. And if you are joining us in exploration, maybe choose to do something to help your sleep and your circadian rhythm. If it feels fun while you listen, invite movement in. It can be to keep your hands busy with something, or perhaps go outside, get some light or sun on your face, garden, or take a walk, or find a place with a view that connects you to something greater, just like sleep can. It's been a long time since we spoke in depth, and I'm like super excited to get into it. But just to check in a little, where's somewhere that your curiosity is currently taking you?
Oh, that's such a good question, because I think the key for me right now is actually the phrase curiosity. Like to kind of sense what am I curious about and to follow that, because there's so many things that I'm curious on, and to have this kind of lead my way through life is a compass that I've developed more and more, I think, throughout the years, and it's become even more stronger the last couple of years. And I think for me, it's a lot about playfulness. I think we use that word often when we talk about kids and how they play, but I think we need to talk about it more also when it comes to our adult life. Like, how can I take on life with a lot of playfulness and exploration? And when we do that, I think it also reduces a lot of anxiety and pressure. And because when you're playing, it's like you're kind of testing,
Mm.
and you don't have to have all the answers, and you don't have to have a lot of judgment of what is right or wrong. It's like, I'm just playing, I'm just testing out and see what happens, you know?
Yeah.
So, and that's really also what I want to create in my work. Like, I call my concept that I'm working with Curious Sleep Lab. So it's like a lab container, it's like a space where you can explore. You don't have to have all the answers. I'm not going to tell you all the answers. And that's okay. Because I think what we often kind of get stuck in is this, like, I have to optimize, I have to do the right thing, I have to do this and this and that. But what can I be curious of? I think we forget that question quite a lot. And I mean, there's so many things that I am curious about and want to do. And I have a lot of ideas. And I think my friends are, or the people in our surrounding are affected by this quite a lot as well. We invite them for a lot of stuff, and then we just be like, oh, how can we do this in the best way? Like, what is the best way to watch Love is Blind, for instance? Because we love to watch Love is Blind. Or
What is the best way to watch Love is
I can
Blind?
tell you that because I've been testing this.
Okay,
Exploring this.
let's go there. Tell me about this.
The best way is to invite a bunch of people. You don't really have to know them. Just invite a lot of people that you meet in your everyday life to have a watch party. And ideally, you want to also create an app. If you have someone that's interested in creating apps, like my partner, and I'm really curious about science and research, so we added some questions about attachment, and then they get to like bet on who they think are going to stick together, and if they're going to have a baby, and so on. So you get some engagement from that. And then we talk a lot when we have these sessions. I mean, there's so many different people with different perspectives, different experiences. So when you want to say something, you say pause, and then you pause the program. And then you just like, okay, so this is strange, or this is like, I want to discuss this, or I have experienced this. And what you realize is that people have so many different ways of viewing the same situation.
Mm.
And you learn so much about the human nature, relationships, and yeah, it's a really good way to watch love TV shows.
I love that. And I'm in awe of your level of ambition. And I really appreciate that you actually dare apply it to different things. I think it's so easy that we just apply our ambition to something that's supposed to like generate profit or
Yeah.
make us successful and what I heard in your story was like, I'm curious. I'm curious about you. I'm curious about relationships. I'm curious about stories. And I'm willing to put my energy and my playfulness and my desire for something good behind it. How beautiful.
Hmm. Yeah,
My initial sense is like, it's amazing and you're my idol for it. And I feel like it's rare.
mm,
It's a rare
yeah,
level of like intention and curiosity to apply to something that many people would maybe say is, I don't know, like we're talking about a TV show about love and kind of relationship intrigue, which
mm,
could mean nothing to most
yeah,
people. Could be like something to like just wave away or
yeah, certainly. And I think, yeah, I think it's what I realized is that I think it is kind of rare, maybe rarer than I thought it was, for just to approach someone and say, hey, do you want to come and watch TV in my home? I just met you 2 seconds ago. But I think that openness is something I've been very intentional of what kind of society do I want to participate in and how do I want my home to be. And I want an open home. I want people to feel welcome. And me and my partner have just been discussing this quite a lot. Like, what is the level that we want to put into this? Like, do we have to have it perfectly clean? Do we always have to serve food? And we realize, no, we want to be lazy hosts. So what we do is like we invite people, and sometimes we keep clean a little bit. Sometimes we don't really. Sometimes we offer food if we feel like that is something that we want to do, or people bring their own. And it's just it should be easy to say yes, and it should be easy for us to invite. That's kind of how we take this on. And we also had like gatherings where we were trying on semla, like the Swedish bun that you have with cream and it's very sweet, and you have it in February for testing. And we had 18 different
Wow.
because we were quite a few people. So we divided them, and then we had a scoreboard. I mean, it's just so nice to have these interactions, and you start to see like new relationships building with people from different parts of my world. They start to interact together, and suddenly they start talking without our kind of intervention or whatever, and they have their own chats. So it's so amazing to see how like all of us can create communities. And when we follow curiosity and see, oh, I really love creating a space where we talk about relationships, I don't feel limited that like this is only my private sphere. I mean, if I wanted to develop this into something like further, maybe into a business or something, I feel like as long as I follow my curiosity and take this on with like, oh, I wonder what would happen if I did this, then I feel like there's no limits really. And I started doing these writing circles because I love writing and I want to I'm writing on a children's book and inviting people, and I offer brunch and they pay a small amount, and I put up a workshop, and now we're a small community of writing together and dancing to get into the creative mode. It feels very, very playful for me to create these sessions together, and when you feel like it's appreciated.
Amazing. I'm always in such admiration of like the level of care and openness that you apply to things. And I want to take us in through that lens that I know you have, the care and the curiosity, into a topic that is your area of expertise, which is sleep. What does it mean to you to have a curious relationship to your sleep? Because I feel like that's such a rare combination of words, again, especially in a world that is all about gathering data and optimizing everything. And here you are, and you're talking about curious sleep. Tell me more about that.
Well, it really makes sense actually. For me, curiosity when it comes to sleep is about exploring and non-judgmental and seeing where am I now and accepting that in a sense. So I think what tends to happen quite a lot is we talk about this is what good sleep looks like. That's what you should be aiming for. And if you're not there, then there's something wrong with you. Or you shouldn't lie with your phone in the evening. You should be going to bed on time. And I think that's not really a helpful approach for behavioral change. And also there's so many things with sleep that are very, very curious. Like we're falling asleep and turning off our surrounding, like our real world. And then we have these weird and bizarre hallucinations and another world that you go into that is kind of connected to your like everyday life, but not really. And throughout history and in other cultures, sleep is something where you also connect with whatever you believe in, like God or something, a higher power, or it has some religious and spiritual meaning as well. And I think that we have lost a lot of those kind of meaningfulness and reflections here in our kind of modern society. And I think we could actually gain a lot from start to reflect more on that as well. So for me, it's both about what is really effective in behavioral change to sleep better, because of course, when we sleep better, we feel better and we are better prepared for taking on life. And I notice it for myself as well. I have more patience. I'm better at focusing on doing the tasks that I'm kind of supposed to be doing. And I'm more prone to taking steps for taking care of my health, like physical activity, eating better, and so on. So, of course, there are many reasons to take care of our sleep. So that's one part. And how can we do that in the best way? And actually, this is also supported in research and science that having this more non-judgmental and open start to how you take on behavior change is much more helpful when the motivation comes from inside of you instead of someone giving you rules. And also when you, let's say I want to reduce my screen time in the evening. I mean, they're not really like one size fits all. So also understanding what do I need and what works for me. I think that's the key. And for exploring that, we need to leave a little bit of these kind of, it should be in this way behind us and try different things. I had one person writing to me on LinkedIn. He had major sleep problems and done a lot of work on this and in kind of a therapy he did when it comes to sleep. He was instructed to find like an evening routine. And what he is now doing is that he's playing mobile games in bed. And it works.
And it works for him.
And now he sleeps really well. So taking off a little bit of this pressure, it should be this way, or this is forbidden and this is okay. I think that can be helpful in finding our way. Because also, the more we try when it comes to sleep, the harder it can become.
Yeah.
So sleep is paradoxical. Like if I'm lying there in bed and I'm trying to fall asleep and I watch the clock and I say, oh my God, now it's been like 1/2 hour more and I'm still awake and my body is tense and my mind is spinning. I mean, it doesn't help to try more.
No.
And what is also interesting is that if you start to have sleep problems and you try to take as many measures as you can to have a strategy to sleep better. And now I should take naps during the day. I should cancel stuff because I'm tired. And so I can sleep better tonight and so on. Almost the more steps we take in trying to control sleep, the more difficult it becomes. So of course, there's still a lot of value in seeing, okay, maybe I can get more sunlight during the day. I can make it darker in the evening and so on. So there are steps we can take to take measures to prepare for better sleep. But a lot about sleep is letting go of control.
Ooh. That's sticky territory for most of us.
So, and building up a good relationship with sleep over time. And I don't think we're doing that when we're telling ourselves, oh, I'm bad because I cannot manage to go to bed on time.
Yeah.
Then I think it's much better to see, okay, what can I do? What can I manage? Well, maybe I can manage to have regular sleep times, the times that I'm actually going to bed. And see, okay, maybe I start to go to bed at 12 o'clock in the night. And that's my start.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's not perfect. It's not where I want to be like long term, but this is where I'm starting. It makes that regular. And then in 2 weeks' time, I go to bed at 23:45.
Yeah.
I did that for 2 weeks and see, does this work for me? And yeah, to figure out our own peace and our own, what is standing in my way and what is actually making it easier for me.
Yeah. Now you kind of frame the like just the attitude towards sleep. Do you have a definition of what good sleep is?
Yeah, I mean, there are different factors that together we have seen that they are positive for our alertness and for our sleep and so on. But I think that what tends to happen is that we focus too much on one of them. Like, how many hours do I sleep per night? Because that is one of these factors. Also, there are individual differences. It depends on where we are in our life, how old we are, who we are, and so on. So, yes, most adults need somewhere between 7 to 9 hours sleep per night. But it's also about regularity. How regular are my sleep times? And do I sleep mostly during daytime or during the night? Like, the timing matters too. But then we have, like, how do I perceive my sleep quality? Do I wake up a lot during the night? Do I have a lot of time when I'm awake? That's not necessarily a problem, but if you feel like I'm not able to get the sleep that I feel like I need, then it's of course problematic. So wakefulness during the night is also part of normal sleep, but it depends on how much and how often you wake up and how you feel during daytime. So that's another factor, like, how do I feel during daytime? And that one's quite tricky because even when we're sleep deprived, our bodies are trying to, like, okay, now use all the resources so that you can function and seem to be just as normal as you would have when you have been sleeping well. So you may not really feel like you're sleepy, but you can still have like lower reaction times. You can have micro sleeps when you're driving, and that's not really a good thing.
No.
So you need to be aware of, okay, if I have been sleeping irregular and getting too little sleep, I'm probably going to be affected, but I may not be aware of it. Maybe I'm a bit more irritated, or I struggle with focus, or, I mean, you don't have to have the I feel tired symptom only.
No.
So yeah, how you feel during daytime is also an important factor. And I know a lot of people are using like clocks or apps or something to measure their sleep. And that's not necessarily something bad. I mean, when it comes to exploration, I mean, it's also one part that I'm working with, like, how do we map the current situation, the current status? And I usually use a sleep diary where you fill in sleep time, so sleep quality and so on. With apps and clocks, you get a lot of information. And the question is, what do you do with this information? Like, what do I make of the information that, oh, tonight you had 7% deep sleep?
Yeah. So what do we do with that? Like,
Yeah.
what are things that, like, good sleep or bad or patchy sleep, but what are things that those patterns kind of will direct a flashlight at in our lives? Because you kind of were saying, like, during the day and day and night are connected. So that also makes me curious, like, if I wake up from a bad night of sleep, what might I interpret from that, rather than, ooh, as you said, that was 7%.
That's such a good question.
Where do I direct my curiosity about life?
Exactly. And I think that, I think that's a really key and good question that I actually don't get that often.
Good.
So what that can say is that, oh, there's something in my life going on that is stressful, or is occupying my mind, or it's too much right now, or there are big life changes. Those things can impact sleep, and sleep can be kind of like a small sign saying, hey, there's something you need to pay attention to here. For me, it's when I get a lot of nightmares. Because when I was a child, I had a lot of nightmares. And then when I became older, I got less and less. which is good. But now sometimes I get nightmares again. And that's a signal for me like, oh, there's something going on right now that is putting anxiety or stress in my life.
Mm.
And then I can identify what's going on.
Yeah.
So how we feel during our daytime impacts our nights. And then our night can be like like a small signal. Hey, there's something you need to listen to here. But of course, it could also be like, okay, there are better ways to care for your sleep than what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
It could be, okay, you go to bed too late because you get stuck in this very interesting YouTube black hole of seeing how can I get chicken in the summer and feel like it house for them, you know? And suddenly it's 1 o'clock in the night. Oh, I can get more sleep next night, and that's fine. And then you get stuck in something similar the next night, and you're in a pattern of going to bed too late. But it could also be like evening work, or that you plan too many things in the evenings of, I need to do my dishes, I need to do that and prepare for tomorrow, or da. So then we can try and see, okay, can I maybe do the dishes in the morning?
Mm.
Or what happens if I, instead of checking YouTube, the last thing I do, maybe I do that a little bit earlier and I listen to calm music or whatever. Try different things and see, okay, what happens if I do this instead? So again, coming back to this exploration, like what could I do to make it easier for me to do the things that are important to me?
Mm. Yeah. I love that. I love that you give permission for exploration with it. I mean, personally, for me, I've always had like a sticky relationship with sleep. When I was little, I used to say I was allergic to going to bed. And it wasn't that I slept badly once I slept. It just, I think it was kind of, it's the sense of like FOMO.
Yeah.
Or like, why do I have to sleep? There is so much to experience or be curious about, and I still get that. I still get that as an adult. I still get it, especially being a parent and days are really full, and until you sit down on the couch after activities and dinner and everything, it's 9 in the evening. And for me to have good sleep, I need like a good 1 to 2 hours of no demands, like no less, like when I can shut down stimulus and just kind of focus on a thing, listen to an audiobook or do a Sudoku or whatever, is a silly thing that I get to do. And I really battle with myself on those nights where I don't really get that. Is usually when then I go to sleep too late and I get into this cycle. And as you say, it takes so much to then lower the threshold, so much willpower, even just like the 15 minutes earlier of shutting down and not giving that to myself. And it's such a negotiation every time. And I know I do better when I do sleep, right? And I'm paying attention, but oof, it's sticky. Like I understand that it is sticky for us and that we actually need the experimenting and just giving ourselves permission to go, actually, okay, so today was shit. Okay. Can I make like a slightly better choice today? And I try.
Yeah, and I mean, you're not alone in what you're experiencing. I'm the same. I mean, going to bed, especially when I was younger and a kid, and I mean, it was not my best moment. But then I loved sleeping. Like when it was finally like when it was morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did have like nightmares and other stuff going on that made me feel a bit scared about sleep as well. And I think that's the part that we don't talk about so often. It can also be quite just like shutting out reality and saying goodbye to the day and saying goodbye to the people you love. And I think I've always been quite anxious about, that kind of separation in a sense.
Yeah.
So that can also play into it. Like, how can we make this feel more safe? And I think that kind of goes hand in hand with, like, there's so many things I want to do when I'm awake. And now I have a little bit of time. I want to talk to my partner. I want to watch that. I want to do that. And suddenly, yeah, there's so many things in life that feel important.
Mm.
And how can we make going to bed something that is kind of tempting in that
Yeah.
space? For me, I have like almost like a battery of things that I can do or that I can bring with me to bed that make it feel like, oh, this is my cozy moment. Like I noticed that having these like heavy pillows that I can heat up and make it warm
Mm.
and bring with me to bed. Oh, that's so comfortable and so like makes this really cozy. Or having like, oh, tonight I'm gonna listen to this podcast that I'm looking forward to, or I'm gonna bring Sudoku, or I'm gonna read that book, or whatever, or I'm gonna lie there and think about my new idea, or like how I'm gonna decorate my home, or whatever, something that makes me feel like, oh, I'm looking forward to this moment. But usually, what happens is that I go to bed and I don't even need to start these things or not even bring the pillow. It's just the idea of I could do this.
Yeah.
That makes it feel like, yeah, it's not such a bad thing to go to bed, you know? And then I fall asleep anyway.
Yeah.
But it's just this kind of hook. Okay, I could do this. If I'm lying there and I'm bored, I could start a podcast or I could watch some ASMR on YouTube.
Amazing. But I think what I'm hearing is I love that you brought in the word separation. It was also one of the words that came up for me. And I think we generally are not so good at thinking about spaces of transition. And that's what I'm hearing in what you're saying is we get to, I think it's easy for like sleep and wake to feel like a very binary thing. You're either asleep or you're awake, and that's it.
100%.
And instead of playing within this space that is like the movement from one to the other, just the same as we waking up, like, I don't know. There are people who like the alarm rings and they open their eyes and they jump out of bed. I am not one of those people. And congratulations to you listening if you are. But it just makes me dwell on this space of transition, both from wake to sleep and from sleep to being awake.
Yeah.
And how we actually, get to apply our love and our ambition, curiosity into that space too. And I think it's so easy to skip.
Yeah.
In anything. Like, I also see it in how we think like phases in life or parts of our creative process, or we always think, oh, well, surely I'm in this phase, or you're in none. Like, you're in this floating in between, and your job now is to kind of let go of this and come into that and do that in a way that feels good and soft and maybe a little bit assertive sometimes or supportive or whatever it is that you need. And so, yeah, I love what you shared because I think we skip that often.
I think so too. And actually, that's a really interesting space when it comes to sleep and wakefulness.
Tell me.
It's the non-binary middle land where, because what happens actually when you're falling asleep is that it's not an on and off switch. It's like some parts of your brain are starting to fall asleep, others are still awake, and it's definitely a transition. And then you can kind of transition back to being more awake or going more into deeper sleep. And even when we are asleep and waking up, we also have this transition. And sometimes there are glitches as well. And you can perceive a lot of different weird things. You can hallucinate. I know I have many times been reading, it could be a science paper, or it could be like when I'm reading for a kid's book, when they're supposed to be falling asleep, and I'm starting to fall asleep. and I start to read really weird stuff that are not in the book. And I'm still kind of present in my surrounding, but also not really. And it could also be like when I'm watching TV with my partner and I'm starting to drift off and he starts to discuss something with me about something we're watching, and I'm trying to not make it look like I'm sleeping. So I answer, but the answers can be like, what?
Yeah.
So we are in this transition phase, and it's actually quite common that we have a sense of a presence in the room, or that we hear someone saying our names or something that we recognize. We hear, have auditory hallucinations basically, or we see maybe patterns or images in front of our eyes. What can also happen is like when you're transitioning to sleep, you have this like,
You jolt kind of.
exactly. You have, it feels like you're falling.
Yeah.
And suddenly your muscles are kind of tensing, That's called the hypnic jerk. And it's super common. But there can also be other things that are similar. Something that I have experienced, and I started to, like, this was in the beginning of my sleep science journey. And I was trying to understand what's going on. What are the things that I'm experiencing? What is the foundation for that? And I figured out that it's probably exploding head syndrome. And it sounds
really scary.
very scary, very dramatic. And that's exactly how it can be experienced. Like it feels like you have an explosion in your head, or like a gunshot next to you, like an electric firing going from the back of your head to the front. And it's like loud and it's banging, and you feel like, am I having a stroke? What's like, there's something wrong with me. But actually, it's probably a similar mechanism as when we have this like hypnic jerk. It's a transition phase, and then there's a glitch. So it's not harmful. And some people experience it maybe more than others. But the thing with these kind of things that are a bit weird is that we probably don't talk about it. So we don't really know how common they are. And it's similar with sleepwalking, sleep talking, that in sleepwalking, you are still kind of in deep sleep, but you have kind of woken up in some parts of your brain. So you can navigate the room, but what you're doing, it's
makes no sense.
Realistic. I mean, I've heard stories about people taking down shelves, like actually taking them down from the walls and putting them up in another space.
Oh, wow.
Or like taking all their beddings and putting them behind the couch, or really weird stuff that people do. So, and you can have sleep paralysis. And that's when you have a semi-awakening from REM sleep, which is another sleep stage. And in this sleep stage, you're actually paralyzed. So you cannot move your muscles that we have control over. So you're lying there in your room. You can see the room around you, but you cannot move, you cannot scream, and you feel this presence of something in the room, something approaching you, maybe even something sitting on your chest, something that wants to harm you, and you cannot get out of there.
That's frightening.
Yeah, that's really frightening. But all of these things seems to be like, they're not really dangerous, but they can be very, very frightening to experience.
And what I'm hearing you say is they're part of what still is a normal experience of sleep.
Yeah, could be. Definitely.
Or maybe normal isn't the word, but what could be expected.
Yes. I mean, if you have a lot of sleep paralysis, or if you struggle a lot with walking in your sleep, and could also do like dangerous things like opening up your front door and going and walking, or even driving a car. I mean, that's not really a good thing.
No.
Then we need help. But definitely this falls into kind of the normal spectrum of what is normal sleep. Especially if it happens every now and then, but I think the key here is like okay, do I feel like this is disturbing my sleep? Do I feel afraid of falling asleep? Do I feel anxiety surrounding my sleep? Is this something that I worry a lot about? Then it's definitely worth to talk to your doctor about it.
Mm. And what if we come back to like the motion that we did before, if this happens a lot, like what would you look at during the day? What are things that could trigger more of these things? Or are there things? I don't know.
Yeah, so first of all, there are like genetic differences. Like some of these things are more common in certain families. And then when we are in more stressful periods, or when we have sleep deprivation, or when sleep is more irregular, then we can have a higher risk of experiencing this as well. Or alcohol, and like the regular things that are helpful for us to feel well and feel healthy.
During the day, or also the things that
Yeah.
impact us at night. Yeah,
Mhm.
that makes sense.
So yeah, what I want to convey also is sleep is more than focusing on what can I optimize, but also what is my experience. Like, do I experience silly and bizarre and interesting dreams, or do I experience like how does it feel when I'm falling asleep? We cannot really pinpoint that point because, as I said, it's like a transition, and the kind of the definition of sleep is that we lose consciousness.
Yeah.
So what happens if I try to pinpoint that kind of moment when sleep happens?
Mm.
I mean, there's so many things that we can be exploring, or to take away a little bit of the pressure of what sleep should look like, and more what can I experience during the night. Like one of my best sleep experiences is when I sleep on the trampoline outdoors in the summer with my daughter and our neighbors. Last summer, we woke up at like 4 o'clock in the morning because of rain in our face. But it still was like a moment that we're still talking about. I still remember how it felt like when the birds were singing, and the grasshoppers and the clouds were coming in. I mean, that's an experience of life. It's not the
Yeah.
best sleep, but it was an
Yeah.
experience.
I love that. And immediately makes me think of, especially in childhood, like the times you fall asleep in the car and somebody carries you into your bed, or when you are away somewhere and you fall asleep in a space where there's a lot of people talking.
Yeah.
And yeah, and there's something special with that sleep that, again, I mean, yeah, no, it wasn't the best because somebody's carrying you in from the car and you have to pee before. And then you kind of still are asleep, but you're awake. But I remember them really fondly, those moments. And the feeling of safety and
Yeah.
adventure that came before, or something else. I do love that. And I love what you said about experiencing sleep, in the sense of giving us space to check in with what we feel about it, not just what the data points look like.
Yeah. And that sleep and the night can also be part of the human experience. And I think actually that there are, of course, many mysteries left when it comes to sleep. And that it can also be a part of connecting people, in that what we see is actually in a couple, most people prefer sleeping together. And they rate their sleep as better when they sleep close to their partner. Even though objectively, when we measure sleep, it might be worse when you sleep next to someone and they're moving and you're waking up at different times and so on. And of course, if your partner is snoring and you get a lot of disturbances from that other side, it's not so easy. But what this kind of tells us, I think, is that we're also connecting even though we're not aware of it. And the same for children. I mean, in history or in other cultures, And even in like our Swedish culture and more like modern societies, many sleep together
Mm.
or in close proximity to each other.
Mm.
And I think that is, I think that gives us something, but we don't know exactly what yet. And there are some studies indicating that we're almost kind of syncing our sleep patterns when we're sleeping next to someone. Our sleep cycles become more synced to that person. So, I think there are things there that we are unaware of, processes that are going on that we don't really take into account. We talk a lot about sleep as an individual experience, or how can we help the individual to better sleep? But what about the connectedness between humans as well, and between parent and child, for instance?
Mm.
Sleep has been and are in many senses like a collective experience.
Yeah.
But today, many of us are living more lonely lives. And loneliness is also part of what I think is creating a lot of mental, like anxiety and the mental health problems. And we feel like we don't have our community in a sense.
How does that translate in the day? Like how do our social dynamics during the day do those also impact our sleep? And I'm thinking outside of, we talked about things being stressful or driving up our anxiety, just thinking less about the dramatics of it, but more about how the social makeup of our life, how does that kind of weave together with our sleep?
Oh, very closely, I would say. I mean, if we just think about what we tend to dream about, it's a lot about relationships. We don't really dream about all the hours where we're sitting by our computer and working. So our dreams, which can be thought of as a reflection of the underlying processes going on when we're sleeping, our dreams seems to be made up of more what is important to us. So they can be stressful, there can be like a lot of emotions and a lot of relationships. And we also know that sleep is important for processing emotions. And if you have a conflict, for instance, in the evening, you can feel like, oh, I want to send this angry email right now, or I want to take this conflict with my partner right now and solve it. And then you get heated and you have a lot of emotions and you feel very strongly about it. And then you sleep on it. And it's like, oh, I shouldn't have sent that email. That was not good. And you see it, even if the conflict is still there and there's still something that you need to solve, you tend to have a different perspective on it because we have processed the feelings surrounding it.
Mm.
So sleep is definitely important for our social life. And social stimulation is also something that it can give us energy, but then afterwards we can get more tired as well. And also this part of sharing our realities, talking about things that are a struggle and not really just sitting with it ourselves. I think we tend to get so much into our heads, and what we are maybe missing a lot nowadays is this feeling of I'm part of something greater.
Mm.
It's not only about me, me, me. Like when you're sitting under a star-filled sky, it's like you feel like you're so tiny, but also that you're part of something bigger, you know?
Mm.
And then you start to have new thoughts and being less in your head about, oh, I should really have made the dishes, or you get out of your head a little bit and into a new kind of inner world. And I think that happens when we are present with the people around us as well.
Mm.
Like in general, like being present, I think that's a cure for being in our heads a lot. And being in our heads can be anxious, you can have spinning thoughts, and this can, of course, be very problematic when we're trying to fall asleep. or waking up during the night and have it just spinning. So finding ways of being present in what you're doing. It can be dancing, it can be like having a conversation with someone when you're really, really present, or playing, or I think that's really the key to many of these things. And that, I think, definitely can impact our sleep as well.
Yeah. It's lovely when you said presence. I also came back to what you said about experiencing and allowing ourselves to be engaged with the experience of what's happening right now, which is both amazing and hard and sometimes frightening, depending on what reality we're facing.
Yeah, for sure.
And really important, I guess, if we want to be less judgmental.
Yeah. And then when we are in the present, some of the things that are helpful when it comes to, for instance, dealing with anxiety is, okay, coming back to my body, not trying to change, but trying to, okay, what does it feel like in my right foot right now? Or, okay, now my heart is racing. What does that feel like? Or what do I actually see in my surrounding? And that can take away from, then you're kind of distracting these thoughts of anxiousness spinning. And yeah, I'm about to give birth this summer. And of course, this is something that's been on my mind quite a lot. How can I deal with that situation and deal with the pain and being present and experience this amazing life happening,
Yeah.
be truly present in that. I think this can be applied to so many different parts of our lives.
First of all, I'm excited for you that that you're getting to bring a new human into the world. And yeah, I think that's kind of the theme that is woven throughout our conversation, that desire to sense and feel and trust what we're sensing and feeling isn't just good for us being awake, but also good for us falling asleep.
Yeah. And understanding our bodily signals in a sense, and listen to our bodies and listen to, oh, how does this feel for me? What do I need right now? It's easy that we distract ourselves with rewarding things and kind of dampening the voice of the body in a sense.
Yeah, it is.
Like, oh, I actually feel sleepy right now. What do I need?
And that's such a we spoke briefly about this before. It's such an easy thing to bypass in ourselves. Just push it a little bit further.
Yeah. And I think especially maybe the way our work is often designed in, or what's maybe expected of us. Like you should be working 8 hours straight and have a lunch break and so on. What I do, and I know it's a privilege, I can be very flexible in how I work. And I notice so well, okay, now it's a struggle for me to do what I'm supposed to be doing. This is my cue to take a break. I can sit there and try and push and, continue to force it. But I could also take a 15-minute break, have a nap, or go for a run, or go for a walk or just have a fika break or whatever, or dance ugly in my living room. I mean, and I know that these things are more effective than sitting there and trying, because that sitting there and continue forcing it is going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and it's going to drain me, and I'm not
Yeah.
going to be productive.
No.
But when I step away and I listen to what I need right now, suddenly I have the best ideas. I come back with a fresh mind. I'm so much more effective and productive. And it's the same with sleep in the evening. I mean, we can sit and work long hours into the night. I've done that a lot
me
of
too.
times
Yeah.
in the past. I don't really do it anymore because it doesn't help me. It's much better than that I go to bed and do more tomorrow morning.
And this makes me curious. I have to ask you then. Just you're sharing this from a perspective of you're doing it, right? You're hearing the signal, you're making a different decision. What helped you in being able to do that? Like both hearing the signals better, but also, you know, finding the space and the bravery and the energy in you to go make a different decision than maybe what you would like or expect of yourself or somebody else expects of you. What are some of the things that helped you in hearing yourself out and daring to do differently?
Yeah. First of all, I also want to point out that I'm not perfect, and sometimes I override my signals because I get stuck on reels or whatever. But so I think that for me, it's been the continuous flow of knowledge that I've been taking in during these years. So having a basis of understanding what impacts what, and the actual, yes, you can restore energy after a nap, for instance, and you're learning when you're sleeping. Sleep can promote creativity and new thinking, learning more things. So understanding that part is, of course, something that I would say is key. But then the next step is dare to do something, because when it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be like you're changing everything in your life at once. But when you start taking steps of actually making it happen, you can sense the difference.
Yeah.
And when you feel it in your body, that's really when you can like, aha, okay, so this does work for me.
Yeah.
I can manage this. I can do this. So what I typically say, and when we're working with these different experiments that I'm doing in my programs and so on, is all about doing something, and preferably something really small that you can manage. Something that actually works in your life where you are right now, even if it's the stressful period before summer, everything needs to be done. Like, find something small that you can manage, so that you can experience the impact.
Yes.
Because knowledge is, I mean, it doesn't matter if you just have it in your head. You need to experience the impact.
Yeah, I love
So
that.
the other day when I was kind of tired and I struggled with focus, and I didn't do the things I was supposed to be doing. I'm my own boss, so I decide what I'm doing. And I knew this is what I want to get done today, and I didn't get it done. So I let go and just like, okay, I need to get out. Because for me, I know I feel so much better when I get outdoors every day. So I was like, I just need to get outdoors. I almost felt like this panic. I have to move. I have to sense the air,
Yeah.
even if it's just 10 minutes. So I took a slow walk. I was walking slowly. I was just like not stressed. I was breathing kind of slow. And suddenly things started to fall into place. And that was the most productive, like 25 minutes of my workday.
Yeah.
Because I realized, oh, this is the way I need to work. This is how I should tweak this. This is how I should have my program. There were so many things falling into place in a way that would never have happened if I was sitting at my desk trying to continue to force it.
No.
And now suddenly I've like tweaked so many things according to that idea that I got when I was out walking and just looking at the beautiful trees and the spring is blooming. And I mean, I would have missed out on that great idea that is now
Yeah.
taking me in a different direction in my work.
I love that. I always like to think of it as enabling myself instead of like trying to, as you say, force or control an outcome. I try to ask myself how I would make what it is I'm looking for possible. And usually that leads me to make slightly different decisions than if I'm trying to control it in a sense. Because then I have to go dip into my knowledge of what actually functions. And I also love what you said about the small steps, just giving ourselves room and using our playfulness to experience something succeeding, because we need that. Otherwise, we can't trust it.
Yeah.
And I feel like so often, at least I see people who try to make these things really big. Like there's this huge vision of how it's supposed to look like when I'm going to sleep or when I'm creating this thing or whatever it is. And we immediately rush towards this huge thing. And it just feels like there's no way to even bite a small chunk out of it. And what we really need is exactly what you say, like something that happens like right here and now that I could try and then see, okay, that worked a little. So now I'm ready to make it bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then we're also building up the confidence that I can make a change.
exactly.
I can build new habits. Because what happens when you're trying to make it perfect immediately is that you're going to fail.
Yeah.
And how motivated are you to continue to make positive changes when you're incorporating that sense of I'm a failure into
Yeah.
your core? I've done that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Growing up, like, oh, I'm such a lazy person who cannot get shit done, and I go to bed at too late. And that was incorporated into my core of who I thought I was. Instead of, I didn't have the right tools. I didn't understand how I could make it to make it work for me. I didn't appreciate who I am and thought I had to fit into this model of who I should be.
Yeah.
So walking with steps of finding my way and make it easy to succeed, make me feel like winning. I think that's key.
Yeah. I love that. Make it easy to succeed. Is there anything else you would add to that as an invitation to anyone who's listening? If they want to take something forward from this episode into their lives.
I would say step one is to get to know yourself, where you are right now. And that's usually where I start also with my coaching and in my programs and lectures, to start mapping out where am I right now? And seeing what are my hinders and helpers in my everyday life, and take it from there, basically.
Yeah.
And the next step is then, okay, what small thing can I do? Can I explore? and see what happens.
Yeah.
So usually that could be like, okay, what happens if I have more regular evening times? And what time would that be for me?
Yeah.
You know? And stick to that for 2 weeks
Yeah, I love that
to really
addition.
give it a little bit of time to settle and see, does this give me any, how does this impact my life? Which nights were easy to make it happen? Which nights were more of a struggle? And why?
Mm.
Maybe I was too tired that evening and that made me go to bed too late because I was too distracted and everything was just spinning and it was sometimes it can be more difficult to go to bed when we're tired than when we are like semi-tired, you know?
Yes.
So which things are my kind of helpers in this?
Mm.
And what is standing in the way? And when we start to understand that a little bit, we can make some small tweaks, explore what does this tweak mean for me? Is this something I want to continue with?
Yeah. I love that. One of my previous guests, Amanda, she shared that she usually works with her clients, coaching clients, to do 30-day experiments and then decide. And I feel like that really rings in the same
Yeah.
spirit here.
Oh, yeah.
And I think most of us will know that, you know, whether even when we're picking up things that we know are good. I know that from every time I start back up with exercise, that definitely the first 2-3 weeks, it's a struggle every time. It doesn't feel that good yet. Body aches, and there's still something really tempting about opting out. And that we have this illusion, right? That when I pick the right thing, it's just going to feel right and good straight away. And it doesn't necessarily. Like sometimes we
No.
need time to observe.
Mm.
And personally, I think that's also something that I see with people in general. If you talk about, you know, growth or expansion or however you want to relate to it, time observing is so valuable.
Yeah.
And we so often skip it. And I know I will often tell people in session when they catch sight of something, I'll be, you know what? Don't do anything.
Mm.
Just take a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
pay really close attention to this, where this pattern is playing out in your life,
Yeah.
how you're reacting to it, and then pick a place to start. Don't rush out of here and like try to change it all.
Yeah.
And that's really tempting, right? We want to fix
It is.
things. It's super,
It
super
is.
tempting.
And it comes from a place of wanting to care for yourself or the people around you.
Yeah.
It comes from a place of wanting things to be better. I mean, me and my daughter have been talking a lot about screen time, for instance. She's 11 and she used to have like really high screen time when we started noticing how much it actually was. And what we did was that we monitored it. Okay, so how many hours are you spending on your phone? What are you doing? And is this how you want to have it?
Yeah.
How do you think this is impacting you?
Mm.
And then she got to decide. No, I want it more in this way. I want to have the screen limitation for these apps, but not for these apps. And then we tried that. And it was, of course, we had a dialogue about it. But it was a lot driven from her.
Yeah.
And I know kids are different and may not work for everyone, but we had an open conversation of this is where it is right now. Let's
Yeah.
monitor that for a while now and see.
Mm.
And just by monitoring it, I could also see that she was doing some changes.
Yeah.
Just being more aware of our behaviors.
Yeah. And she was relating to her experiences.
Yeah.
So are you, which is helpful. And we're not relying on somebody else's experience of the things that we want to change.
Yes. Exactly. I mean, it's the same thing with everything that we want to make a behavioral change in. It's easy to say, oh, now I'm going to work out for 2 hours, 4 days a week. And I'm actually tracking, I'm making a check mark for the days that I'm doing a workout. But a workout can also be like, I'm lifting kettlebells for 10 minutes in my living room in the evening because I want to tick off that mark.
Yeah.
And I think it's all about building the habit first,
Yeah.
and then you can expand.
I just love the permission to play with the relationship between our sleeping and our waking hours, to make them each part of a whole that is interacting rather than two separate moments in time. And that we get to pay attention to how we move, how we transition from one to the other. And even more than that while we tend to separate sleep out from so many other things, the same is true here as with any other habit or behavior or change or evolution that we aspire towards. That formulas may work in part, but what will finally give us that outcome, that goal, that good sleep, is not rigidly following a plan. It is daring to listen day to day and trying the small things, experimenting and helping ourselves trust in our experience and our senses over the data points, or at the very least, try to make sure they complement one another. So, while you're looking to find your next small step, your next little thing to try, while you are paying attention to the patterns and the transitions that take you from awake to asleep or from asleep to active, can I ask a small thing? Send this episode on to somebody else who needs it. And if you want to support more conversations about learning from trees, being creative, and expanding our interactions with life, don't forget to follow on your favorite podcast platform and give us a rating. Thank you so much for listening.